Social Development Minister Lindiwe Zulu says that more than 571,000 applications for the 350 Rand Social Relief of Distress grant that had been approved have not yet been collected from the post office. Now, she's urged applicants who have not claimed or received their payments to urgently contact the South African Social Security Agency. Minister Zulu also says that the applications for the reinstated 350 Rand grant will open soon, and I think it's tomorrow. But we've reached out to the minister to help us unpack application processes as well as give some clarity on some of the questions you may still have. And she joins us now to give some responses to your questions. Minister Zulu, thanks so much for your time. Welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you very much, Sakina. Good morning. It's always good to see you, and thank you for the opportunity.
Minister, we appreciate that you always avail yourself, and I think a good place to start would be with what is still a hangover from the previous round of grants. So you said more than 500,000 applicants and some monies that had been put aside have not yet been claimed. But I can tell you, Minister, from personal experience in having tried to facilitate between some of our listeners and viewers and SASSA, that we have sent through countless number of applications in trying to facilitate. And one of the issues was that the post office kept turning people back, where they would say, we don't have money. So have you had a conversation with the post office in that regard?
Yes, absolutely. We actually have had meetings. I decided that we needed to escalate our meetings between myself and Minister Lindiwe Abrahams, so that at an executive level, we have a full sight of the challenges that are faced at an operational level. Of course, it's always very difficult for us as ministers to know almost everything on the operational side, but we do the best to stretch ourselves to that point, because when all is said and done, and if things are not going right, it is us that have to come and answer for it. And we are expected, obviously, to answer because we have the executive oversight. So we've had meetings with Minister Lindiwe, her team, the CEOs, both CEOs of Post Office and Post Bank. We've also had meetings now in preparation for the new rollout that will be starting soon.
The other issue, Minister, was that of the IRP5, and there were many applicants who were told that they have been their names, their applications were actually set aside because they are working, and they haven't worked for years in many instances. So just in terms of streamlining the process in that regard, what have you done to ensure that that doesn't become a problem again?
Yes, this will become a problem as long as people are still on any employment list. It becomes difficult for us to know whether that person is working or not working. But we are then engaging with other government departments, because we know a lot of the people that are still on the list as employed, many of them in particular are at local government level. Just these last 2 weeks, or week when I was in KZN, I did come across a woman in a far-flung area in rural KZN in Ugu district, who told me that, here I am, Minister, I'm not working, I haven't been working for the past 2 years, but yes, I did work for the municipality, but I don't work anymore, and therefore I need to get my 350. I didn't get it because of that. That's why in the briefing yesterday, we said that SASSA is improving its system, but the most important element and to improve is data that speaks to each other. And remember, Sakina, me and you have had this conversation before, that we have a problem of data that is not cleaned. We've got a problem of data that is sitting in other departments which is not cleaned, and therefore we are going to be engaging, especially at local government, to say they need to clean their data, because if people haven't been working that long and they're not receiving any other pension from the government, they do need to apply, and we can only approve them once they are not on the system, because then if you do, you're going to end up finding yourself paying people who are working in government. You recall that we even had sneaky people who are in government who applied when they know perfectly well that they shouldn't have applied.
Indeed, Minister. And I just want to know, in terms of looking at possible solutions and just streamlining the process, would it be possible, or have you decided on perhaps having a dedicated unit, if you will, that will look at some of the queries still from the last round of SRD grants exclusively before we get to the new set of applications?
Look, I've said to SASSA that we do need to clear out. In fact, I think they've really tried to clear out, because the numbers of those that hadn't received their monies was really reducing. But I said to SASSA, just one who hasn't received their money for me is unacceptable. Everybody who qualified needs to get their money. The system is still in place with regard to the old and those that had not been paid. So we might not necessarily need a specially dedicated unit, because the system is there. And we haven't closed it. What's important is that we haven't closed them out. SASSA cannot close them out. So we need to do everything we can to make sure that they are paid. And of course, the new batch of payment now, we have to start the registration tomorrow, which is the 6th of August. But all those who were not paid, who qualified, the money is there for them to be paid. It's just that our system really needs to make sure that is improved in preparation for the new ones. They have improved the system a bit. Let me also tell you, Sakina, one of the biggest problems obviously is that when you have to pay out such grants and you didn't get enough time to prepare for them, and you didn't get extra money to buy some of the technology also to do, we needed to very much use a lot of in-house, which is okay in my view, because you do need to improve your systems. I'm hoping that we said that those who are not paid we extended for 3 months from a point of view of paying them, not from a point of view of people applying, but paying. And that 3 months is almost over. I'm hoping that by the end of August, we should have been able to pay those people.
And I think that's, we appreciate, I do, along with, I'm sure, those who are dependent on these grants, what you said, Minister, in that even if it's one person who hasn't been paid, it really is an issue because people are dependent on these grants to literally put food on the table. So let's move on to tomorrow and the new application round. Let's talk about the processes and how this is going to unfold, because now people will have to apply again.
Yes, people will have to apply again. As I clarified also yesterday, that there is a criteria which is the same criteria as which we used the previous time. We indicated that people must be a South African citizen, permanent resident, or refugee registered on the Home Affairs database, and persons who are holders of special permits under the special Angolan dispensation, the Lesotho exemption permit dispensation, and the Zimbabwe exemption permit dispensation. Asylum seekers whose Section 22 permits or visas are valid or were valid on the 15th of March 2020, currently residing within the borders of the Republic of South Africa, above the age of 18 and below the age of 60, unemployed, not receiving any social grant in respect of himself or herself, not receiving an unemployment insurance benefit, and does not qualify to receive unemployment insurance benefit. This one is very important. Everybody keeps asking about it. Not receiving a stipend from the National Student Financial Aid, which is NSFAS, and other financial aid, not receiving any other government COVID-19 response support, and not a resident in government-funded subsidized institutions. We clarified that very well yesterday. But let me also add, Sakina, that President Cyril Ramaphosa then also agreed that the caregivers who are not receiving any grant on their own behalf will also be eligible to apply for the special COVID-19 social relief of distress. One of the reasons why we also had to do this was because when we were doing the analysis of who got the 350, we found that it was mainly males who received it, And not that we are against males receiving it. If they are unemployed, they are unemployed. But the issue is that we know that in many instances, it is the women who take care of children and families, and therefore thought it necessary that we must cover as many women as possible.
Minister, there's a question from Eric, and I guess it speaks to the criteria. Eric says, can you please ask Minister Zulu why they don't care about the tourism industry? I mean, we were given a small change for 3 months in 2020, and since then, nothing. We are not contributing to the GDP of this country, or are we not, or what? Do we not qualify for the 350 Rand grant?
Well, if a person is unemployed, they qualify for the 350. But also, let me say, as far as business is concerned, I'm very much aware of the fact that both the ministers of tourism as well as the Minister of Small Business Development in particular, there is another rescue package by government that is there. Because remember that our response to COVID-19, this is not the only response to the challenges that are faced by our people. There are other responses by other government departments. And if he is talking about tourism, maybe what I might request, Sakina, is that let me get the details of that particular person so that maybe one might help. But even if you were in tourism or in any other sector, as long as you are unemployed and not getting an income, you have to apply for the 350. And I'm happy that he's making a call and not saying I don't have this, I don't have that. He's being very specific. He says we are in the tourism industry, which therefore means even the people who were running their B&Bs, people who were doing a whole lot of work around tourism, people who were tour guides, I know they're not getting any income because there are no tourists that they are guiding anyway. So they have the right to apply for the 350 because they have no income and they are not employed. Even if they were self-employed in the past, they're not employed right now because there are no tourists flocking in. Though I might say there's a little bit of an opening right now and encourage South Africans to please start going to places here and there so that these very people who are looking forward to guiding you can be able to do that right now.
Mzingisi wants to know about capacity, Minister. The question is, he says, they say they'll treat each application as new each month, and that caused many delays previously. Does the Minister think that they have enough personnel to avoid those delays with the increase in numbers of beneficiaries imminent? So the question of capacity to deal with all of the queries, Minister.
Yes, absolutely. Remember that the applications, people don't have to go to SASSA to apply for this social grant. Remember, nobody went to the offices. Even now, we even tried to improve our systems. Earlier on, I did mention that we've tried to improve the system in the back room of the applications so that we can be able, we do have the capacity to process these applications. As I indicated yesterday, it's not in the applications that we find that we've got problems. It is in the people submitting information, maybe sometimes applying on the 3 platforms. We've indicated all the time, please do not apply on too many platforms because you confuse the system. Apply on one so that then the backroom processing is easy. Where we normally get a problem is when people don't fill up the information properly. And when then people also have to go to the post office to get their money, that's where the delays are. In the application process, we don't really face that much problems. That process goes very quick. That's why we've been paying so many people, because this is not new that we are going to be checking whether people are employed or not. This is what we've been doing since we started. So it's not a new thing that we are introducing right now.
Well, Minister, I think that's the nub of it, but I know that we will talk more going forward. But I think in general, those are the questions that come up most, the issue of the post office, and also perhaps just to push it a little further, people complaining about the fact that it costs them money. It's taxi fare that they need to use to get to post offices in many instances, and then they get turned around. So we spoke to that question, but the post office issue, and then also the IRP5 issue keeps coming up. So people who are told that they are on a certain database when they haven't worked for years. So we have addressed those issues. Minister, we're going to park it there. There is, of course, a request I see for the various ways of applying for the grant. I'll tell you what, I think we have them. Someone from your office just sent them to me now, Minister. So we'll try and put them up and share them with our viewers, and we'll also put them up on our social media platforms. But at this point, let's park it. Thank you so much, Minister, for answering those questions. Minister of Social Development, Lindiwe Zulu, talking to us about the reintroduction of the Social Relief of Distress Grant. And as you can see, we have the number there, 0800 60 10 11. That's a toll-free number that you can call. And you can also get in touch via the WhatsApp number, 082 046 8553. That's the WhatsApp number. And then there you can also apply on the website, srd.sasa.gov.za. We'll put all of those up throughout the morning. So those are the avenues that you can use. And please, again, for your own benefit, do not apply on more than one platform.